What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So in this video, I'm just going to be going over the weapons that I'm planning on bringing into the day one raid tomorrow. I'm not really going to be going over loadout suggestions per se, because if you're attempting a day one raid, you're probably familiar with loadouts and have certain builds that you like to run. But for weapons, it's important to bring in lots of good ones because the API may be down, so Destiny Item Manager might not transfer over the weapons you want to use. So I would go in with, if not a full slot inventory, maybe 9 out of 10. So anyways, we'll start with the Kinetics, and we're obviously going to start with Osteostriga. It's a monster all the time, and there's been lots of build videos going around paired with Necrotic Grips, and it's amazing for ad control, and it does damage over time. It's just an extremely strong primary. Another strong weapon that you can use like a primary is Aegir's Scepter. This is also great for ad clear and great for locking down lanes because you can like kill one enemy and then freeze all the nearby targets. So it is super good for ad control, and it does pretty good DPS if used in its will given form. But yeah, Aegir's is just also a really good option. And speaking of things that can lock down zones, Witherhoard, everyone knows what this does. If you're a Warlock, it pairs great with Starfire Protocol so that you can, it's good to have a Demolitionist Rocket so you can just whip your grenades, stick with Witherhoard, do a little damage with your primary in between. Awesome combo there. So yeah, Witherhoard, just jack of all trades, amazing weapon. I love it. A good sniper is not a bad idea to have. Something like the Kingsfall raid, Oryx is far away, and obviously Linears were the go-to for that. But I do have a couple snipers here ready to go. So if we're in a team setting, I've got a firing line one. This will pair nicely this season because of volatile rounds. And this one is just been my go-to for so long. 5,100 opponents defeated. And yeah, it's enemies defeated, I should say. It's just an awesome weapon. You can use whatever you like. Speaking of good kinetic snipers, Izanagi's Burden with the auto-loading holster. I don't even have a hothead on me right now because I'm a Warlock, so I probably won't even be using auto-loading. I'll be using a demo rocket. But yeah, pairs really nicely together. So next, we'll look at the Riptide. I actually made a video yesterday going over how good Chill Clip is. It's great for ad clear. It's great for stopping high tier targets. Yeah, just all around really, really good weapon. So I'm bringing that with me. Wish Ender, if you've been sleeping on it, start using it. It has anti-barrier intrinsically, and we don't know. I'm assuming it's a Vex raid. It could also be Cabal. But if it's Cabal, it's really good for Phalanx shields. If it's a Vex raid, there could be barrier hobgoblins. So it's really good for them, as well as Barrier Colossus if we get those. So yeah, Wish Ender, top tier. Everyone's been talking about how weak primaries have been hitting lately. So that 40% buff to exotic weapons is also really nice. Unfortunately, that isn't working on the Quicksilver Storm, which is why I don't have it in here. But that's another good option because that grenade launcher mode is really good for taking out high health targets. But Wish Ender absolutely wrecks. The Broadhead perk pierces targets, over penetrates them, so it actually hits 3 times. So it's also low-key great for getting your super back. Outbreak is just good to have in the back pocket. We use this day one of Vow of the Disciple for Caretaker because we were struggling on ammo at the end. So we all swapped to Outbreak to get that DPS in on the final stand. Lumina, not everyone needs to bring one of these, but you should have one buff guy because Lumina is absolutely amazing. That 35% buff is definitely needed over the 25% buff on day one, or it can be. I know we struggled with DPS on War Priest Challenge, and that extra 10% would have been amazing. We did get it done, but yeah, super good. I talked about Izanagi's Burden with the hot swap with auto-loading rockets. Just a great DPS option, especially if you're not a Warlock using fusion grenades on Starfire. And then I actually just really like this Firefight. I crafted mine with 4th times because I hate reloading. That's why I have Flared Magwell as well. And then Osmosis is really nice. I tend to spec heavy into Discipline, and now with the Weapon Surge mods, So say I was running it on Starfire, I could take advantage of Solar Weapon Surge, even though kinetic weapons as a whole did get a bit of a buff. But yeah, you'll want a good, I would say, auto rifle for overloads. Again, if it's a Vex raid, then we could have overload Minotaurs. So this would be good for stunning them as well. Osteostriga Rex on overloads. So yeah, you want to have that in your back pocket. I would prefer that over SMGs, but something like the submission from the Vow of the Disciple raid is also really good. Speaking of overloads, this Amit, you can see it's level 62. I've been using it a ton. I love it so much. Just a really good primary, especially because I could be running a lot of solar. Le Monarch goes so hard. It's easy to get volatile rounds this season. It's great for overload rounds as it's built in, but you could also equip overload bow to make it more consistent because only the poison procs the overload. Maybe have a good trace rifle because you could actually run something like, say, a Witherhoard, a trace rifle. You can run double special. The trace rifle will hit harder, and double special is still working to drop more heavy bricks. So I know we used that strategy on Rulk on day one of Vow of the Disciple because we were just struggling with ammo. And that was also a tough boss fight to get the kill on, to find all your damage output. So yeah, swapping a double special was really good. Another thing that works good is Null Composure. I've been using this recently the last couple days. It's so good, again, especially if it's a Vex theme. There's lots of Void Overshields, so this wrecks that. Plus paired with volatile rounds, wonderful weapon. You might want to have a glaive just for the DR from the shield. So I just threw that in here in case you're a glaive person. Trinity Ghoul is awesome for mowing down ads, obviously. So if there was some very ad dense encounter, say like the third encounter of Vow of the Disciple, not counting the opening one, the one where you have to run the 3 floors, this would be really good there. Divinity, again, only one person has to bring this, but Div is still a really good option. We will have a tether with like a weaken grenade and a tether super, obviously, but Div is just really nice to have. Forbearance, great ad clear, don't have to say much else. Ambitious Assassin Chain Reaction. And then I already talked about the Sniper. And then that brings us to the Heavies. So like I said, I'm going in with this. I'll likely have Frenzy procced for a DPS phase, but if I don't, I do have a Hothead with Demo Vorpal, so I would run that. Corrective Measure, I ran this in the opening encounter of King's Fall, the totems or whatever, and the very opening encounter actually. Machine guns are amazing right now. They mow down ads. I've got another one in case I'm running a solar build, and you can extend your restoration with solar kills. So that makes this gun really great. And enhanced field prep. This thing has like 400 ammo at base. It's amazing. Parasite, in case there is a quick damage phase, this thing puts out amazing damage. Grand Overture is another high burst option. And same with the Fourth Horseman in this slot if you wanted to bring that. Two-Tailed Fox, again, it might be an okay play if one person on the team brings it to apply the jolt to the boss. But yeah, not a bad weapon to bring. Sleeper Simulant has been crushing bosses. My clanmates one phase the Grasp of Avarice boss this week with this gun. It's going so hard. I'm loving it with the Solar Surge. It's so easy to get huge damage output on it. Cataclysmic is also a good linear fusion rifle. Pair that with the Witherhoard, swap to Cataclysmic for the bait and switch. Still puts out awesome damage. Don't sleep on it. Anarchy, just a good go-to. You could still do the double slug swap if it calls for it with like a heritage and a first in, last out. So yeah, Anarchy, always good. Xenophage, I've loved this gun from the day it came out. Still really good with the Solar Weapon Surge. It's awesome for things like wyverns, chunking down big high health targets like that. It's got pretty good ammo reserves, and it does good damage. I used it on the Spire of the Watcher boss yesterday, and I was keeping up with a Starfire Warlock for damage, because you can actually see your damage at the final end screen. And then I saved what I think is the best for last, Leviathan's Breath. This thing absolutely slaps this season. Paired with volatile rounds, it's just, I mean, it's got volatile on its own now, but if you get a perfect draw, I believe it is. But yeah, I just completed that new Vex Caliber mission. I went in blind. I was staying away from all the videos and stuff. And anyways, Leviathan's Breath absolutely chunked Brachion. It is so good, and it's doing a ton of damage. So if there's things like champions, it got a 30% buff to champions. It can like probably two-shot in the raid if you have Void weapon surges on. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be taking in off the rip. Might look something like this for the opening encounter, just because it's probably going to be more ads than a boss right away. But yeah, again, and I'll just show you my loadouts quick. I made a video on the Sunbraces build. It's awesome. This is the one that I like to pair with Corrective Measure. Super good build, obviously Controverse with 100 Discipline and 100 Resilience. And then the Starfire build, and then the Necrotic Grip build. So those will be my go-tos. I don't really run Arc or Stasis, but I've got some pre-builds. These are Crucible. This was a Verity's Brow build I was messing around with. But yeah. Oh, and Fellwinter's Helm is also good for applying a debuff in the right situation. But more than likely, you're just going to be using a tether. So anyways, I just really wanted to make that video because you can see all these guns are up to like 1800. I've got infusion fodder for this, but yeah, my vault is like completely full with infusion fodder of weapons at 1800. So if you're anything like me, I'm also going to level this one up. If you're anything like me, you probably want to level up your weapons before the raid. So if you're wondering on some good ones to level up, this is what I would bring. So there's all the weapons. And yeah, who knows? I might even wind up swapping to a bunch, but if dim is down, that's going to be a pain in the ass. So that's pretty much what I'm taking into the raid day one. Anyways, if you found this helpful, then a like and subscription is greatly appreciated, and I thank you so much for watching. Take care.